Live from the Clarity from Chaos studios, heard worldwide, it's Dave Campbell. On every episode, Dave and his guests explore, discuss, and work on solutions to some of life's biggest challenges. So, if you're ready, be prepared to be enlightened, amused, and even shocked by what you hear. And now, the real, the authentic, the one and only Dave Campbell.
Welcome back to another episode of Clarity from Chaos. I'm your host, Dave Campbell. There has been a lot of discussion about the Black and Hispanic populations belonging strictly to the Democrats, except going into this last November's election, when we saw both of those population groups start to migrate heavily towards Republicans. But we haven't really discussed a whole lot about the Jewish population and its tendency to remain Democratic. Now, interestingly enough, you have an anti-Semite and a stated socialist running for mayor in New York City, and it seems that they still have support from the Jewish population. Well, we're incredibly pleased to welcome someone who can speak to this very issue. He is the author of Let My People Laugh, Greatest Jewish Jokes of All Time, and the director of the action film Guns N' Moses, Sal Litvak. Sal also wrote and produced the film Saving Lincoln. Welcome to the show, Sal.
David, great to be with you.
So let's start out with and I'm going to have to temper this because, it's the corporate media that's claiming all of the support from the Jewish population. And over this period of time, I've come to believe that maybe 0.1% of what they say is accurate. And if you actually did a man on the street discussion with the Jewish population, they'd say, go get bent. But what's your thoughts on it?
Well, first of all, literally 20 minutes ago, saw a new stat on this, and that it's less than 15% of the New York Jews are planning to support Mamdani, and I hope we can get that number lower.
Yeah, I would be happy with like minus 15,
Exactly.
Honest to God, I cannot understand why anybody would support this. Although you had people that voted for AOC, you've had people vote for Jasmine Crockett, Omar, Tlaib, and all the rest of them, which just baffles my mind completely. But, there you have it.
I think there's a lot of inertia in this. I mean, they've been so committed to the Democrat Party, which is to say the old Democrat Party before it became completely hijacked by these radicals. And they just can't imagine themselves coming to our side of the tracks.
Yeah.
The Republican side, the conservative side. But it's almost like this guy's going to do us a favor because he's so off the reservation. He's so bad for the Jews that there's just a lot of people that they can't not, even though they watch CNN, they think the New York Times is the Bible, God forbid.
Yeah.
They're just not going to be able to vote for this guy. I mean, he is a disaster. His policies, it's terrible.
Yeah, even if he wasn't quite frankly, a committed communist, his policies are just insane. I mean, if you just listen to the man, you'd have to go, this guy is like, 2 bricks short of a full stack. I don't get it how anybody could support him, much less, the mainstream Democrat people in the House and so on that have actually endorsed the man. It's just incredible to me.
I believe I heard that the latest about him is he wants to do away with misdemeanors. There's no category
I heard that last night
called misdemeanor. Those people just get released. My God, you talk about the broken windows theory. This guy wants to be the breaker in chief.
Yeah, Sal, I really don't get it. You have Schumer, who I thought, at least growing up when that he was probably, the middle of the road kind of Democrat and everything else. But these guys just seem to be butt scared of opening their mouth and saying this is BS. And I don't understand that. I can't put my head around the fact that common sense, you don't have to agree with Trump or anything else, but there's a certain level of common sense and a level of country, if you will, that should be seeping into the conversation with the Dems. But all they can do is complain about, whether Trump's wearing a red tie or a blue tie. They can't. You would think, Sal, that any kind of Democrat, say for Schumer, that he would look at a problem and Trump offers up a solution, that he'd put his little mind on the problem and see if he could come up with a spin that was better, or at least equal to. But all they can really do is bitch about Trump, which I just find remarkable. I mean, how did these guys get elected to begin with?
I mean, the lunatics are running the asylum, right?
Yeah.
Remember that book we read when we were kids, Animal Farm, George Orwell's book,
Yeah.
right? It's all about
Yeah.
a metaphor, an analogy about the
Yeah.
Communist Party and how it
Yeah.
takes over. So you have these people that they espouse messages that sound good, the universal good for the universal
Yeah.
this and the plight of the common man, etc. And of course they have to elevate unqualified people because whatever that system is, it's not a meritocracy. So they've been elevating people based on anything but merit, intelligence, common sense, electability, all kinds of other criteria for elevating these people for long enough that they're now in the leadership. It's like they don't even understand that they're driving their party into the ground, but it's just becoming evident to everybody with common sense. And now you even have young people. Traditionally, that's who's going to be the liberals, right? But even young people are getting hip to this.
Well, I think part of that, though, Sal, is because our education system in this country doesn't teach civics anymore. They have
Very good.
absolutely no clue of any kind of general reference to the Constitution, general reference to the executive, legislative, or judicial branches. Quite frankly, they just don't know, and they haven't been taught that for a reason, so that they can apply this level of propaganda and BS to the generation, and they soak it up like sponges because they just don't that, and they don't teach critical thinking anymore. Kids, like when I was little, the only word that I can ever remember asking was why. Why this, why that, why, but you never hear that anymore, right?
Right.
They've taken the fear of failure away from the kids, so they can't learn when they lose.
Right.
They give everybody a participation trophy, so they feel better about themselves, and they've done so much harm. I don't know how many generations it's going to take, Sal, to get the boat turned towards actually going back in the direction it needs to go.
I want to be optimistic.
Well, so do I.
I want to believe that the truth comes out,
Yeah.
and that when people see these failed policies failing so miserably. But on the other hand, what did I just see? I like to try to listen to news from both sides. It's my policy. I need to get the news from multiple sources, even though it sounds so much more sensible and logical, from Fox and the Post, et cetera.
Yeah.
But I'll tune into CNN. So I tuned into CNN, and what do I see? Some panel talking about how Trump is going after his enemies, right? This is evidence that he's a tyrant who's going to use the Department of Justice to prosecute his enemies. And of course, it's the accusation confession. I mean, the people that the government needs to be prosecuting are the people who use the Department of Justice to prosecute a political opponent. But CNN keeps saying the opposite. We're going to ignore what they did when they were attacking Trump with absolutely fabricated charges that had no basis in reality. All of them are falling apart. And obviously, the people who brought those charges, who falsified, the whole Russia hoax, now we know, right? Isn't the evidence coming out?
Yeah.
Right to the top.
Yeah. I mean,
the very top.
That hole is continuing to get dug deeper and deeper.
Yes.
And the sad part about the whole thing is, I was doing a lot of reading on the speech and debate clause in Article 1 of the Constitution that protects these guys it protects the Adam Schiffs from blabbering about he's got all of this wonderful evidence, blah, 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 blah. It's a complete lie.
I've
Yeah,
seen the evidence.
yeah, it's a complete
Wait, excuse
lie.
me. Let me get my neck up.
Yeah, but, unfortunately, they have mechanisms that protect them, so that you're not going to see the accountability, I think, that you and I would expect, right? Or the Hillary Clintons that is now coming out about even deeper about the uranium issues and stuff like that that she did with the foundation, with the Clinton Foundation. Now the IRS is, and of course, the left is going, oh, this is all, this is all we're going after. This is all retribution. This is this and this. Nobody even thinks about or seems to be able to remember back in the not too distant past when all of this stuff was going on, like what was it, Travelgate and all the other issues, right? So, you know, I believe with 100% surety that Comey's guilty as hell, Clapper's guilty as hell.
Imagine if Trump had done 1/100th of what
Yeah,
these
yeah,
people have done.
yeah.
I mean, to tell the FBI you need to fabricate evidence or run with clearly fabricated evidence to attack the new president or the
Yes,
president seeking election,
right.
that's treason. That is the destruction of democracy.
Absolutely.
But the majority of the American population is not hearing about it if they get their news from mainstream sources.
Right. Yeah. So, and the other part of it is, the sad part about it is there's no accountability in that regard either, right? You've got, half a dozen individuals that run the media, all of the media in this country. And nobody even talks about that. They complain about the CNNs, they complain about the NBCs, the CBSs, the ABCs, and all the other stuff. Nobody talks about the 6 individuals that control just about every piece of media that is consumed in this country and almost globally, right? Nobody talks about those individuals. So you have 6 people, right? That basically control the narrative. Nobody says a word about them, or very rarely.
It's
So
like if only they were doing it for money.
yeah.
If it was just money,
Well,
the system would work better.
I think they're doing it out of guilt or something, Sal. I'm not quite sure. They feel some kind of late idealism or something. I'm not quite sure where they're coming from with it, but I can get up on my soapbox, and I don't think I probably should be. So let's talk about the French and Kushner, Mr. Kushner, not Ivanka Trump's husband, but his dad. I apparently wrote a little nastygram to Macron in France, telling him to stop with the anti-Semitism,
Enforce your laws.
yeah, and start doing something about it. And now all of a sudden it's becoming a political incident, right?
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure, like, what does it mean that Macron and the French, whatever their Senate or whatever it's called, have summoned the ambassador, the U.S. ambassador,
Exactly.
Charles Kushner? What does that mean? They've summoned him.
Yeah. I mean, they've gone out and already stated that they're going to support a Palestinian state.
Yes.
And everything else. So they're basically saying that they're in bed with Hamas and all of the people that have caused all of these problems for Israel and everything else, and the horrific things that happened on the October 7th stuff.
Yeah. Let's reward Hamas for
Yeah.
conducting a massacre and raping and burning
Yeah.
children and everything that they've done. Let's reward them with what? They had their own state. On October 6th, they had their own state.
Yeah.
Their open-air prison was a Mediterranean paradise. What
Right.
did they do with it? They built a fortress, they built tunnels, they launched rockets, and eventually they thought that they would galvanize the Arab world, particularly, and Iran, which is not the Arab world, but certainly the Muslim world, and everyone would jump in and annihilate Israel. Well, that didn't happen. It was an absolute failure on the part of Hamas. They did tremendous damage to my people.
Yeah.
We felt that like a wound in our family. And now they've paid a price. I mean, and the Gazans have paid a terrible price. But no one is starving, by the way. There's never in the history of warfare been a war where one side is expected to feed the other side. And this idea that Americans are repeating, liberals are repeating this now. Oh, they're starving. They're starving. These poor freedom fighters, which emboldens them, and the war drags on. These people have blood on their hands because normally a war is tough. And if one side is beating the other and the other starts to feel hungry, the war ends. But this war drags on and on and on and on because these people embolden it. Okay, so the French are going to come out and they pay lip service. Say, "Oh no, Hamas are terrorists," but we support the Palestinians, and therefore we're going to support a Palestinian state run by Hamas. None of it makes any sense unless if you're going to just talk about real world, real politic. France has already fallen. I mean, they've had a complete invasion. Macron's people are Muslims who, have occupied all of Paris. There's tremendous, large no-go zones there. And he probably just feels like he has no choice because his country has already fallen.
Yeah. I yeah, I think Macron is pretty weak to begin with. So,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
What's going on with him and his lawsuit against this crazy woman, Candace
Yeah.
Owens? That's a
Yeah.
whole other story.
Yeah, yeah. He doesn't seem to have his collective shit together, if you ask me. But there,
Oh man.
there you go. But so let's let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the comedians that are self-deporting. And there was a big article about all of these lesbian comedians that are self-deporting because Trump got elected. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out why they keep giving Rosie O'Donnell all of this airtime as if she was relevant to begin with. But your thoughts on all of that?
Don't let the door hit your butt on the way
Yeah,
out.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that statement could be made to a lot of people,
Yeah, I mean, they ran a report that they're self-deporting to Canada. There's been a spike in Americans
My
seeking,
goodness.
quote, refugee status in Canada.
Mm.
He almost spit it out. He almost spit it out, David.
Don't do that.
They're
Oh.
refugee, and the
Ugh,
spike,
got
of
coffee
course, is
coming out my nose.
the spike means that they went from 200 Americans to 250 this year. You're like,
Yeah.
wow, big numbers.
Yeah. 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 You see them lined up like they were lined up on our southern border, right?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Both.
4 years, 4
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Who knows how? Do we have any idea how many millions of people came in and who they are?
No.
I'm sure there
No.
were many economic migrants just seeking jobs.
I
I'm sure that's true. But among them, who
Yeah.
knows? I mean,
Yeah.
terrorists, worse than terrorists,
the
murderers, child traffickers. Who the hell knows who came across that border?
I have a great deal of empathy for a lot of those people because if I put myself in those shoes, I'd be probably doing the same damn thing. But the fact that, if you see the pictures of the old days when, the Irish and stuff came into Ellis Island and everything else, and, they were, do you have a job? Do you have a skill? Do you have this? And, the whole assimilation to the U.S., the whole thing. And then what we went through the last 4 years where they basically said, come on in. We don't really give a damn one way or the other. Just get your butt up here and we're going to take care of you. And then I heard, what was it? A couple of days ago, Pritzker is now giving benefits, financial aid to illegals for school and everything else, where you have, Americans that probably would love to have that opportunity. And then to top it all off, you had an illegal migrant hired as a police in the police department. And I want to say it was in Maine, Sal.
Wow, I didn't hear that story.
They hired a cop. He was illegal, not a citizen, not anything. So now you have an illegal enforcing U.S. laws. And I'm not quite sure how the hell that works.
They didn't vet those people too well.
No. Well, I think
I'll give Eric Adams credit. At least he admitted the number that New York City has spent $6 billion.
Yeah. Yeah.
These on
Yeah.
illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the people of New York could use that $6 billion for something else.
Nah, I couldn't think of a thing that they
Yeah,
could use it
everything's
for.
running really smoothly there.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that anyway. So let's talk about your book. We haven't talked about your book, and just the title of it just intrigues the hell out of me. So let's talk about your book. Let's give it some props, man.
Thank you. Let My People Laugh, Greatest Jewish Jokes of All Time, came about because I have a Jewish wisdom and humor platform called Accidental Talmudist. And as a Jew, I'm an inheritor of not only a wisdom tradition, but a humor tradition that stretches
Yes.
back thousands of years. And I've always just been a fan of these jokes, collected them, and I started sharing them first in writing and then telling them. And so many of these videos went viral on my Instagram that Skyhorse Publishing came to me and said, let's do a joke book. And, I thought it would be easy since I've written them, I've told them, I rewrite every joke, I adapt it to the modern year, so I thought it'd be easy, but a book is a book and you had to organize and get it just so. And my book is very useful for people because I have lists at the front, best jokes for a first date, for a wedding toast, for a fundraising speech, for a business lunch. It equips you, when you need a joke. Like, for example, what would be a great joke if you're on David Campbell's podcast? So a rabbi, a Hindu priest, and a politician go hiking. And the day gets late on them and they can't find the inn where they're supposed to sleep. But there's a farmhouse. So they knock on the door. Can we spend the night? The farmer says, no problem. But I only have a small bedroom with 2 beds in it. One of you has to sleep in the barn. And the Hindu priest says, my brothers, it's no problem. I will take the barn. The rabbi and the politician are settling in for the evening. There's a knock on the door of the guest room. It's the Hindu priest, and he says, I'm sorry. There's a cow in the barn. I can't sleep beside the holy animal. The rabbi says, no problem, guys. I'll take the barn. So the politician and the Hindu priest are settling in for the evening. There's a knock on the bedroom door, and it's the Hindu priest, and he says, you know what? I'm sorry, it's the rabbi, and he says, there's a pig in the barn. I can't sleep beside the filthy animal. So the politician says, let it be remembered, I sacrificed for the greater good. Off he goes to the barn. The rabbi, the Hindu priest are settling in for the evening, and there's a knock on the door. They open it. It's the cow and the pig.
Amen. Amen. Yes. 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 Yes.
And the book is a bestseller on Amazon. So I invite everybody to get it. Very easy to find, and I know you'll enjoy it. It's just such a good reference book to have. And if I may, our movie that I directed, my wife and I wrote, Guns N' Moses, opens nationwide on September 7th. And it's an action thriller, edge of your seat action thriller. I guarantee you'll be entertained, about a rabbi, a Hasidic rabbi who's forced to become an unlikely gunfighter after his community is violently attacked.
Wow.
That's in theaters across America. You can watch the trailer and get your tickets now. Guns N' Moses movie.com.
Very cool. Very, very cool. All right.
Pro-faith, pro-Second Amendment.
Amen. Amen. It was on Gutfeld. They were talking about something. Anyway, it was the Second Amendment came up, and I digress. So
Thank God we live in America. That's all I could say.
absolutely. I know they were talking about burning with Trump signing the executive order over flag burning, and everybody's right to, apparently and I didn't even look this up because I was just so disgusted about, the Supreme Court, siding with whoever's right to actually burn a flag. And one of the comedians said, well, you could burn the flag in front of me, but then I'm going to exercise my Second Amendment rights. So you may not appreciate what comes next.
Very good.
Very good. Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Did you hear about that case? I think might have been in Texas, somewhere in the South, and there were 2 guys impersonating police officers.
Man.
Pounded on some guy's door.
Right.
They had the vests on. They had fake badges on. They said, let us in. But the homeowner was smart. He's like, yeah, 2 cops in vests who arrive in like a Toyota, in a Toyota truck or something,
It's a dead giveaway, right?
It did not smell right.
Yeah,
And
right.
he challenged them on it. And then they started shooting,
Wow.
because it was obvious that they were not real. And
Yeah.
I believe he shot them and killed them.
Really?
So that guy protected his home and his family.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it happened in Texas, it's probably, taking care of business, and there's probably some potter's graves out someplace taking care of taking care of the bodies. Fortunately, that would have happened in Texas. If it had happened in New Jersey, that guy was probably be put in prison
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
murder, for shooting these
Or my
guys.
home state of California, not
My
much better.
goodness. Yeah, that quickly. What's your take on him? Do you think he's actually going to be able to gain any traction towards the next cycle, next presidential cycle?
You mean Gavin?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as long as he's paying people to appear at his rallies, I don't feel like he's developing a lot of traction.
Oh God. Yeah. I'm trying to think who's running it, the Republican that's running against him. He'll God, what's his name? Can't think of it. It escapes me.
It's
But
not Steve Garvey, is it?
no, it's not
He made a
Garvey.
pretty good
Garvey
run
was
last
running
time.
against Schiff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for the Senate. Hill, Steve, Hill. He's a Fox News contributor, or
Okay,
was,
okay.
and he's apparently running against him. But I was just wondering. I sat there and listened to him the other night, and I was just going, God, how the hell do the people in California tolerate this crap? I I don't get it. I don't know how the people tolerate Bass over the fires that destroyed Palisades and everything.
Terrible.
I
Absolutely terrible. I know 4 people who lost their homes in that. And the more we hear about it, the dirtier it sounds. And now that they've already passed the measure that they're going to build low-income housing there,
yeah,
where? Where
yeah,
people's houses were?
yeah.
Isn't that very convenient?
Nah, yeah. I have to wonder, Sal. Somebody voted for that woman. You know, she either is one hell of a salesman, and if she can sell that line of BS, she's in the wrong business, because she could be out selling polished rocks or something and make a bloody fortune, as opposed to being a
It's a
politician.
one-party system. It's a one-party system in
Yeah,
California. Didn't used to be that way.
no,
Pete Wilson, Schwarzenegger,
right,
Reagan.
right.
We had reasonable people. We had a two-party system. It was
What
so much
happened?
better for the state. It just became corrupt. Gavin Newsom is related to Nancy Pelosi. It's like this family that runs the state, and it's very much to the detriment of the state. You have a lot of Republican congressmen, right? To kind of like the
Right,
breadbasket of California, middle
right.
California. But the cities, not good, not good. The only good news, I think, is that San Francisco has become such a debacle that people can see it, So hopefully there's some kind of awakening happening. And the
God,
great miscalculation of these Democrats who thought they would import a lot of Latinos and that, of course, they would vote Democrat is that Latinos are Christians.
yeah,
They
yeah.
can
Very
see
much so.
through these lies.
Yeah,
They're
very
people
much
who are
so.
very much about family values,
Yep.
and so it's
Yep.
definitely
I think that,
backfired on
yeah,
them.
that was probably one of the biggest miscalculations that I've seen, and I think the black population calculation is starting to unravel as well. It's
Yes.
just taking more time, but I think the black community is looking at these knuckleheads and going, whiskey tango foxtrot, you know, what am I,
Very good.
what are we doing here, right? So where can people find your book? Obviously it's in all, on
Amazon.
Amazon.
That's the easiest way. Absolutely. Go right to Amazon. And if you love the book, please give it 5 stars. That helps
Yeah,
more people find it. But it's done very well. And if I could share with you, something nice
sure.
just happened to me on Thursday, this past Thursday. I was invited to do a 5-minute set at the Laugh Factory. Now,
Wow.
I am not a comedian.
Well, you've got a whole book, for God's sakes, Hal.
I have material. I have material.
Exactly. Your delivery's fine,
I came out, I said, do you know how hard comedians work writing new jokes?
Yeah.
Waste of time. Buy my book.
There you go. It's all right here, folks. Right here.
But it
See
went
me at
over
the
pretty well. People laughed. I was very excited.
good. See me
I
at the
might do it
door.
again. See me at
See
the
me
door.
at the
Be here all
door.
week.
Right? I'll gladly sign it. See me at the door. Buy two.
Buy two.
Yeah.
It's a great
Yeah,
gift.
buy two. There's a great gift, and the holiday season is going to be honest. As soon as you there you go. Well, listen, it's been an absolute delight and a pleasure, sir, having you on the show, and I really appreciate it.
Likewise.
I
It's
really
great to be with
appreciate
you,
it.
David. Please, and you are doing great work. I mean, I think that hypocrisy and lies and policies that are going to hurt America, they die when the truth comes out. They die when the facts and the evidence come out. And you're doing such a good job telling the truth and bringing up the facts and challenging the mainstream narrative. Thank you for your work.
Well, I appreciate that. So, with all of that said, my friend, I think we're going to close it up. But again, thank you so much. And everybody, go out to Amazon. Don't just buy one, buy two. Let my people laugh. You'll be able to give at least one of them away for a Christmas gift or birthday party or
Absolutely.
something. Or
Not just
you
for
could do
Jews.
you could do like Sal. You could study up on it and go to the comedy club and let it go.
Absolutely. You'll be well armed. You'll have the joke you want when you need it. Everyone appreciates a laugh.
There you go. Well, thanks again, Sal, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you for listening. If you would like to listen to more Clarity from Chaos shows on demand, go to clarityfromchaos.buzzsprout.com or send Dave an email at info@clarityfromchaos.com for information on previous shows. You can also listen to the show on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Twitter, or Google Podcast. Until next time, please remember, it's not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Be well, everyone.